Thank you for tuning into this debate. It was pre-recorded on Friday, March 13th. Tell Brown a little bit about yourself and why you are running.
Well, first of all, my name is Jason Carroll. I am a rising senior from just outside Washington, D.C., a town called Bowie, Maryland. I study international politics. You said about myself. Was there a second part?
Yeah, why you're running.
Yeah, so the reason why I'm running is because we've been able to do a lot of really great stuff this year. You can talk about the get minimum deposit reduction, you can talk about a lot of the work in the water project. What I'm really hoping to do is to help continue these types of changes on our campus that are student driven and needed, One of the big ones is finishing the expansion of the water project, specifically to dorms like Riston and Patriots Court, which don't currently have access to bottle fillers. Additionally, another thing I'm working on is to help fight food insecurity by encouraging either a supermarket or smaller grocery or mini mart to come into the new Brook Street retail space on Brown's campus. I think that'll help a lot of students. So that's why I'm running, to try to help promote these changes long term.
So my name is Anaji Artis. I am a sophomore here at Brown studying political science and environmental studies. I use he, him pronouns, and I am running for UCS president. So I am running for president because I believe that UCS can be a more powerful driver of change to students' lives and campus culture, and I believe that I'm the most capable candidate to do that. I have a background in climate justice activism. I've worked with Sunrise Brown RISD here on campus, and I also co-founded a global youth-led climate justice organization called 0 Hour. I've also engaged with Brown Divest and lots of other student groups on campus that are engaged in activism. And what I've found is that the burden of organizing happens to always fall on the students that are impacted by the problems that they're addressing. So through student government, I believe that we can be more supportive of these student groups and shift campus culture to one that is more about allyship and support for these student groups.
What would be your top 3 priorities?
I have a lot of priorities. I think I definitely want to get a lot done, and you can check out all the things I want to get done on my platform. One thing that I've heard a lot about is water. We're definitely going to continue the work that our UCS this year has done to expand water access around campus. Increasing accessibility on campus is definitely another big thing that I want to do. And that is all-encompassing, so accessibility with funding, to participate in club sports, to go on trips during your time at Brown, but also accessibility in physical spaces. We need to fix infrastructure on campus. Brown needs to prioritize fixing walkways, making buildings more accessible, and definitely we need to have a disability justice cultural center. This is something that students have been fighting for a long time, and it's still the same group of students who are being impacted by this issue that are organizing for it. And so I believe that UCS can be a way to address that.
I would say number 1 is building up the infrastructure within UCS to continue this work after I'm gone. I'll be a rising senior. Be that more structure to who is in UCS, reaching out to more people, making sure that we're able to properly support the student body and do what's required of us. Secondly, I've been working on the water project for multiple years now. It's about to pretty much be done, and so I'd be really glad to get that expanded campus-wide. Thirdly, I'll say working with admins on the grocery store. We all see that food insecurity is a huge issue on campus. We all know the impacts that the administration solutions had on Brown's campus, specifically with the sophomore meal plan. I think it's time where student solutions and what students want to help address these issues get heard.
How will you apply your prior experiences towards this role?
A lot of the things that people want on this campus are things that we have been working on this year, and they want to see continued. Fighting food insecurity is something that I've been involved with the provost office. The water project is something I've worked on with other UCS members. You can really talk about all of these things. One other example is I'm currently a fellow at the Swear Center, where I work on helping students to understand both the administration and the corporation, as well as promoting student voice on campus. Students say that all the time, that they want more transparency, more resources, and just more overall clarity about this school. So I hope using my experience as UCS's Vice President this year, as well as just my experience working with students in general, will really help with the position.
So I think, activism is at the core of what I've done in my life, and I think that makes me uniquely equipped to support organizing. Student activism is something that I believe is sewn into the culture of Brown, and I think that there needs to be a lot more academic accommodations for students who may be attending protests, going to the State House to give testimony. Organizing in general takes a lot of time, and I believe that can be applied to organizing and also student athletes. I believe that there need to be more systems in place institutionally to support student athletes, especially with building relationships with faculty, but also accommodations for missing classes, exams, and scheduling, things like that.
What are some measures you'd like to work with the university to help support students during and after the current public health crisis surrounding coronavirus?
I think that this is something that's never really happened for students before. And I think just especially making sure students on campus feel like they still have a sense of community because everyone is leaving. And so for the people who are still here on campus, even though they will be moving to the same residence hall, I would love to work with administration to make sure that we are fostering community in that space and building relationships among the students who are still here who may not know each other anymore.
Yeah, so we've been really involved, myself, Will, and Melissa, who are the president and chief of staff currently, in trying to help support students. I think one thing is just being there. We've drafted campus-wide messaging on it. I'm involved with sort of the efforts to try to help students in packing up and moving. Specifically, I'm trying to help people donate because I know there's a lot of waste that's going to happen right now, whereas typically a lot of what Brown students don't need gets donated to local charities. In a broader sense, the things that we're working on are making sure that folks have the options around S&C, that there's proper support with mental health for low-income students, for international students. There's so many things, but I think that's the role of the president and vice president to be really active on that. So I think it's just important for us to be as attentive as possible. Another example is we're working on how we can help people still feel connected to the community once they're no longer here.
How do you plan to represent the voice of the larger student community?
So something I've been working on a lot is how to increase the outreach that we are doing as a UCS. Some of it is working with communications to make sure that we have our agendas shared, that we share what it is that we're doing. One other thing is just, publicizing who is on UCS, sharing when UCS members have accomplishments, making sure that either a Facebook post goes out or an email goes out when there are things, or people are working with the BDH. I think it's really about being active and aggressive, for lack of a better word, to make sure that folks know that we're here to support them. I think it's also about physical presence. Are we doing office hours? Are we helping out? Are we on campus? Are we involved with the issues that students care the most about when they care the most about it?
So I think a major thing that we need to do is go into the community and get their perspectives. Historically in UCS, we've had lots of different student groups come into UCS and present to our general body, and that is definitely an awesome way to get student feedback. But in addition to that, I think that we can do more town halls in the places where people are living, so residential halls, whether it be program housing, Greek life, first-year dorms. We can go to these students about their concerns and really get direct feedback that way.
How can Brown improve the campus experience for students who hold historically marginalized identities?
So I think a major way to do that is more support for centers on campus. I think the BCSC, the LGBTQ Center, all these different centers on campus are great resources for students, but a lot of times students don't actually know about it when entering Brown. So for me as a first year, I had never been to the BCSC, even though I'd participated in the Third World Transition Program. I only really interacted with it when I returned as a facilitator for the TWTP program and doing the capitalism workshop. So I think that making these resources more readily accessible and promoting those resources through UCS in partnerships with these centers could be a great way to get those resources out.
So Brown can do so much and is doing so much, but there's always more that we need to do as a community. I would say the first thing, we're talking about like identity centers, like the UFly Center and UFly students, they've been working to get their own center that's, a separate space for a really long time. Additionally, there's the Disability Justice Cultural Center. They're working to create spaces for students who hold, disabled identities. I think the first thing is just space, Space means so much in College Hills, it means so much in this country. Brown's showing that they really value these communities by giving that space as a first. There's a whole range of things that go from that, but, it's a start.
If there's something you could say to the Brown community right now, what would it be?
This is the Friday that, after they announced the campus closing down. And part of the message which we sent out campus-wide recently was that even though we're not physically together anymore, we're still a community, we're still a family. We need to support each other, we need to be there for each other. And I think a lot of people are sort of in the idea that, like, this is it, this is the end. And while this is very, very challenging, of course, I think we all should remember that we can get through this together, that these are things which we can build and grow stronger from.
I would say, I think that one thing that came up a lot during my petitioning was concern about me running for this position as a sophomore. And I think those concerns are valid, but I think that I have a unique opportunity here if elected, because I will be a junior and I will be accountable to voters because I will be able to run again. And I think that is a strength, and I think that's definitely something that people should consider. In addition to that, I would say that I see that student activism on this campus is happening. I would love to support that more. I've been going to a lot of meetings around campus with environmental justice at Brown, decolonization at Brown, lots of different student groups on this campus who are doing amazing work, and I would love to highlight that. And I think that UCS moving forward can do that. I think that's a great way to do solidarity work. And also just showing up for people. A few weeks ago, I went to a rally on the main green for, it was about anti-Muslim things that are happening in India right now. And people were just getting together and gathering because they were being impacted by issues away from Brown. And I think that that's so important because student life on this campus is not only about what happens on this campus. And I think that UCS can be a great force to address issues both on campus with projects that are impacting students' lives, like the airport shuttle and water, but also with issues that are happening away from Brown.
Closing statement.
Okay, so I am running for this position because I have a lot of experience in UCS. During my first year at Brown, I joined the general body on the Academic Affairs Committee and the Campus Life Committee. On Academic Affairs, I helped launch the Exceptional Peer Advisor Award, and in Campus Life, I worked with Melissa Lee, who was the chair of Campus Life at the time, on launching the airport shuttle service and securing initial funding to get water fill stations in dorms. This year, I am the chair of Campus Life, and I have worked with students on composting. We are working to get plants placed in libraries, which actually should have happened if we were staying on campus, but unfortunately it'll be in the fall. Worked on institutionalizing Project Tampon on campus, and we also created the Dining Council in collaboration with the appointments chairs and the Chief of Staff for UCS. And another big thing that I worked on was student feedback for the BCSC and the BCSC director search. This was another issue related to student activism. There was a group of students called Save the BCSC who were organizing around restarting the director search because of student input on campus about what the process should look like. And I supported that in my role as chair of campus life. So I think that I would be a great candidate for UCS president, and I would love to hear from all of you. You can reach me on social media at Zanaji Artis, and also on Facebook at Zanaji Artis. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you for listening to my thoughts and the things I'm hoping to work on. I really hope that we are able to continue the great progress that we've been able to make with the student body this year in UCS. Just some of the things that I've done and hopefully want to work on. I've mentioned a few already. Some other things are we expanded Grad Center swipe access to the entire campus. We also made Keeney Gym a 24-hour gym for the people who have access, really addressing a lot of student concerns over the past years. Another thing was we reworked pre-registration notifications for upperclassmen who tended to miss the One Today at Brown announcement. Some of the things I'm hoping to work on next year, continuing the push for subsidized laundry. We're really this close. We got the Dean of Students on board with it. We got so many people on board with it. It's just in terms of, are we able to continue the labor we've put in this year? I've mentioned the campus grocery store. I've mentioned the water pilot. Another thing we're hoping to do is to create ETA options when you're using the on-call. A lot of what we're doing is just what students want, what students have said, the biggest issues on campus. And I really hope to be able to serve as your UCS president to be able to continue this work.
We would like to acknowledge that this election and debate were held on the land of the Pokanoket, Narragansett, and Wampanoag people.